We're going to start with manufacturing processes, and it is important that everyone who wants to be an engineer has a little bit of an idea of how items are actually made. Here's the product creation cycle and design. We talk about the design process a lot in engineering, but notice the design is just one piece of it. What we do, remember the design process, create a problem, come up with solutions, all that stuff. That's just the first step when we're actually making a product. And this product creation cycle goes through all of these steps. And notice that it does go back to the beginning just like our design process does. And an important thing to realize is what the profit breakdown is. If we're going to be engineers, we will be working for a company, and we do need to keep in mind that the companies exist because they make a profit. If our companies aren't making a profit, they're going to go bankrupt, and we're not going to have those companies to make the new products. So how the money breakdown happens is important. Manufacturing cost is usually about 40% of the cost of the actual product. Here's the profit over here, about 20%. This is the engineering. This is where we get paid from as engineers. And then admin and sales and marketing stuff. But manufacturing, you'll notice, is the biggest percentage there. So here's some different manufacturing processes. This is basically where we're creating the product, but there's different processes that happen. And it's always a sequence of things, whether we're talking about that looks like some kind of little pharmaceuticals or cars or some kind of dough, pastry, maybe hamburger buns it looks like right there. There's a process that everything goes through, and it's not the same for everything. These are three more kind of engineering. We're going to be doing one of these each day. We already did materials so that we get through all these, and you understand the difference. A lot of the time people are very confused between manufacturing engineers and industrial engineers, because notice industrial here talks about manufacturing. And the materials engineer also talks about manufacturing, so we're going to talk about these in detail. Okay, so I gave you a little table so you can fill in information. You won't necessarily have every box on that table filled in, but I made it so you could organize your information and compare these different kind of places. The first one is called a project shop, though it really is not a shop like a building where we're building something. Here is an example. This is a project shop where they're building this very large boat. Here's a project shop where it looks like they're building maybe a parking garage. Examples of things that are built in what's called a project shop include bridges, ships, large airplanes, large machinery being like something that would go on the boat. Very, very large that we cannot transport to where it's going to, from where it's made to where it's going to be used, so we build it right where it's going to be used. These are often a single item that is not going to be like anything else. Or maybe like in this, if we're talking about like an aircraft carrier, there's going to be 8 aircraft carriers built total, over a 50-year period. So we're talking about building one at a time, and often that one is a completely unique product, and there'll never be a second one made exactly the same way. The second one is a job shop. Here we have small quantities of products. So we're talking about making something where there's going to be like 10 of them maybe, or 20 of them, a very small quantity. And there's a large variety of products. So we'll do 10 of this, and then 10 of something totally different, and then 10 of something totally different, and then maybe 2 of something totally different. And we have all sorts of general machines in the shop because we're going to make so many different products. We have lots of general machines that we're going to make. A flow shop, we have larger quantities of products. Now we're making 10,000 water bottles. We're making 100,000 of some kind of items. These are production lines, and the machines we have on these lines, there's one machine, and it was specifically made to put the caps on the bottles. There was another machine made specifically that puts these little creases in the bottles so that it's easier to grip. These are special purpose machines that were made just for the purpose of being put in this factory to make this kind of product. Then we also have continuous process. This is very often liquids and powders and gases. They're very big plants like oil refineries, but also anything that makes chemicals. And if you can think about, like, say, soda, like making Coca-Cola, it's not individual products, but it's large quantities of liquids, oils, gases. And it's continuous process because it's continually making these. It's not making, like, 1 gallon and it takes 1 gallon out, but it's just pumping them out of these pipes here. Then we have another kind called a link cell shop. And this could be for different kind of products, but this has to do with lean production, which we're going to talk about in the next slide, and one piece flow system. So basically what happens is, if we're thinking about cars, there's a motor here, and this motor gets sent from one station to another station, and each station puts on a specific kind of item to it. And then later on, they're linked cells, so these cells then later come together for the car doors to be put onto the body, the seats to get put into the car. So the cells are all linked, with each subassembly cell putting together their little piece, and then everything gets put together in a final assembly. Lean manufacturing is making 100% good units. In other words, when we're making products, some of the products don't meet quality control. When we have lean manufacturing, we are self-inspecting as we go along, so we don't end up at the end of the line with a bunch of products that are defective. We're doing it where every step of the way, anything that is not up to good standards gets pulled right out at this step that is not good, and we have 100% good units at the end of the process.